Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GRIDLIFE Live. We're in Joliet, Illinois for GRIDLIFE Track Battle Chicago. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Tom O'Gorman. We're sure to be a very fun weekend on a very fun racetrack. This is GLTC's first time at Autobahn, but the time attackers and HPDE drivers have experience at this track. We've been here a couple times in previous years, Tom. Very flat, but very fast.
And it's well established. We expect a lot of track records to follow. It's hot as always up here in the plains of northern Illinois. But we have a whole lot of heavy hitters out for the first sessions. Time attack A, kind of the qualifying session, but what happens out here counts. At least that's a track record right now. It will go into the record book. We have a whole lot of drivers that we expect to be contending track records. Fastest car on track right now is Jackie Ding, who gave himself some space lap in this modified Supra. But like I said, it's kind of the qualifying session. A whole bunch of cars out on track, finding their space, finding their rhythm, and hopefully themselves up for success on the weekend.
So one of the things about Autobahn Country Club is this track, as I mentioned briefly a second ago, it's super, super flat. Not a lot of elevation. Even at Gingerman, there's a little bit. Here, not really much of a concern. What is a concern is on the apexes, there's some really tall curbs, and especially the cars with a really aggressive front aero, they're going to have to worry about hitting those apex curbs. But it's relatively wide, relatively fast on the front straight. Ferris Khartoumi just went by the front straightaway. You're going to be doing well north of 120, 130 in a car like that, heading down into turn 1. And what you're seeing on the top camera is essentially turns 1 through 3, and then basically 4 through 7 are pretty much out of view, and you'll pick them up way in the back in turns 8 and 9. And then as they come through 11, that's our other blind spot. So we're trying to do our best, Chris, to set up a camera taking a look at, what is this? This is turn 8 and 9, I believe.
Yeah, so if you're watching with us live, you can see cars coming in from the screen left, heavy on the brakes, down into a right-hander, another 90-degree right-hander, 9, and as they leave left, that's turn 10 onto the longest straightaway. New top time in this Ferris Khartoumi crossing the 1:06. I've got Abe Schmucker's cars to watch and guide the time attack for the weekend pulled up so that I sound a little bit educated, and he's anticipating at least 27s, if not 26s, out of that track mod car. Jackie Ding's still holding down the second time, and third fastest on the track right now is out of straight G in his Camaro with a 132. So a lot of spread across the top. Many of the drivers still in the 34s to 36 range. But we are seeing pretty much the majority of our track mod, street mod, and street GT contenders on track. And then more of our street cars are kind of lining up on grid for group.
And so Jackie Ding, right now he's P2 with a 131.590. He had brake problems at Gingerman. He went way off into the wheat field down in turn 10B. Got that repaired. He also had issues with boost leaks in that car. So he's supposedly gotten that solved. We'll see if it lasts the day here. Let's take a look at the track map if we can here, Tom. We'll take a look at what Autobahn Country Club is. We're good on YouTube, I know that. I think Facebook might be struggling a little bit, but I know that we're good on, it says it connected, so who knows. But here's to take a look at Autobahn Country Club. 2.1 miles around here. We're only on South Course this weekend. We've got 15 corners, give or take. Who's counting? First sector, though, really tight and technical. I guess I am. To down into turns 1 and 2, kind of a continuous right-hand corner before a sweep back left into turn number 3, and then a run down into turn 4. That's a pretty good passing zone there. But the passing zone everybody's looking at is turn number 11, towards the end of the lap, a sharp right-hand corner down to probably second gear through there, and then fire back up kind of on a slalom through the last sector out of the front straightaway.
Yeah, this is actually just got my first laps of this track back in the intermediate session just before coming up here. Somehow, racing for 12 years or whatever it's been, I have not driven Autobahn until just now. So I was really impressed with the rhythm. Like you said, it is pretty flat, but it drives like it goes somewhere. So those who haven't been here before, it is definitely a track to come to, and especially when we get into GLTC, there's definitely a lot of passing opportunities. There's a really great variety and a lot of challenges linking corners together, but also variety in speed, variety in types of corners, curbs to pick to use, curbs to avoid, all that stuff is going on to the time attack.
So do you think that this is a little bit more level playing ground than Gingerman? Because I feel like Gingerman typically favors cars that are a little bit better handling, and there's a lot of more transient maneuvers, a lot more sweeping corners. Here it seems like there's a little bit more straightaway, a little bit more point and shoot. Who does that help and who does that hurt?
Well, I think it mostly, comparing to Gingerman, I've kind of always vocalized my opinion of Gingerman is that the car kind of goes around the track as fast as it goes. There's no section where you really outdrive somebody at Gingerman, in my opinion, or at least the opportunity that is lower at Gingerman. Here, just my first impressions with not a ton of experience is that this is more of a driver's track, and really make up time with lesser equipment, which comes into play big time in time attack because it is such a builder's category. Have these opportunities to track like this. You have the opportunity to tracks like Road America, Road Atlanta that had on the GRIDLIFE schedule, where I think at Gingerman, the build really shines, and I think a track like Autobahn and a lot of the other tracks we go to, the driver is much more effective.
Right now, Ferris Khartoumi is the quickest driver on track at 1:28.234. He's got about 3.5 seconds over Jackie Ding in the number 86 TA90 Supra. Then Kobe Shield and his Camaro sits in third in the number 130 car, and that is a car I got a chance to ride with you at Gingerman. That car is fast.
It's very fast. I love those cars. So I was going to kind of talk about the categories. Track modified, Ferris Khartoumi is the fastest on track, getting into a 1:28.2, and looking at Abe's summary. The previous track record was a 1:28.7. Previous means that is now Ferris Khartoumi's track record. So we already have one track record has fallen for track modified here at the event. Some of the other drivers to watch: Mike Puglisi, Evo, and then we have AS Motorsports is out here with an LS7 swap to BMW E6. That car looks absolutely bonkers. We saw that car do an out and in and go back to paddocks. So that car and Joe Morrison, 9 Lives Racing Turbo S2000 will also be a car to watch. But I think Ferris Khartoumi is going to be on another level because that car has just gone through some serious modifications, flying, set the track record at Gingerman as well, I believe, and he's already got it here.
Taking a look, we're about 10 minutes into this session. I don't think we have a whole lot going on until a little bit later today. So right after time attack, it goes to beginner HPDE. Then we have our lunch break. So we're going to go quiet from about, I guess this would be local time central. So which would be, let's see, 50. I think we're a little off schedule already, or unless this has been updated once since I've checked. But GLTC qualifying tentatively scheduled for 2:10 Central Time. So that's 3:10 for my folks on the East Coast watching on SYM TV, or if you're watching on the Facebook for GRIDLIFE. So GLTC qualifying will be at 2:10 p.m. Then we'll have HPD Advanced, Drift, HPD Intermediate, then Beginner, and GLTC Race 1 will be at 3:55 Central Time, 4:55 Eastern.
New track record in track modified. I thought I saw the 84 car of AS Motorsports go back to the paddock. It's on track and just ran a 1:27.8. So the track record for track modified has already fallen by over a second compared to last year's track record. Impressive stuff. Ferris Khartoumi still second, so both of those cars under track record in track modified. Going back to street modified, the current standing track record is a 1:30.8 from Sean Krebsbach, who is here with a beautiful new livery on that car. But Jackie Ding is the fastest street modified driver right now with a 1:31.5. So he's about a second off the pace, about 7/10 off the pace in street mod. We're going to see that record fall undoubtedly as long as the weather cooperates. And in Street GT, we had an event here last year. Yeah, 1:33.4 was the previous track record. Kobe Shields 1:32.9 is a new track record in Street. So 2 track records already fallen in less than 20 minutes of running in track battle here at GRIDLIFE Chicago.
And also, I think in the past, this event has basically been held on the surface of the sun. It's not quite that hot here today. It's still definitely toasty, but I think the cooler track temps is definitely going to help drivers attack the racetrack and get a little bit more time.
And just looking down the order more, I'm trying to get my head around what's going on. Austin Hurdle is on track, one of the drivers to watch in street. The previous record in street was a 1:34.0 from Chris Newman. And Austin Hurdle has broken that one with a 1:33.8. So 2/10 improvement on the track record. Austin Hurdle reclaims that for his 370Z. So 3 out of 5 categories have track records fallen at this event so far. That's the AS Motorsports with a 1:27.8 out of track modified. Kobe Shield 1:32.9 out of Street GT. And the street track record for Austin Hurdle at a 1:33.8. Oh, I'm still looking around. Car not labeled with a driver, but I believe I know who's driving this car. It's the 87 car with a 1:33.4. That's out of the street category, and I'm pretty sure that's Brandon Randbeck at the wheel for Team Twitch. That's a new track record in street over Austin Hurdle. So 2 drivers in street now under the track record in that category, and no improvements towards the top.
Has there been any track record that hasn't been broken yet?
Yeah, street modified. Street modified is still about 7.5 tenths off track record. So Jackie Ding
give him a couple hours.
was quickest in street mod. Let's go by category. Jackie Ding was quickest. Ryan Matthews, who is another one of our drivers to watch, he's driving. Let me see. What is he driving? 121 Corvette. A C5 Z06 in street modified. So smaller tire package on a Corvette than you would normally see to get down into street modified, but he's second quickest at a 132.1. And then third is Alex Moss, who broke the track record of Gingerman just a couple weeks ago in his K-swapped S2000.
Track is relatively quiet right now. There are a couple people on the far side of the course, but I see the RX-7's heading through 8 and 9 right now. I believe that is Ryan Matthews. Is that not Ryan Matthews? Across the line? In the 121? He's down in 8 and 9 right now. Is that RX-7? White RX-7?
No, it's a Corvette.
Oh, is it a Corvette?
That's Ben Misch on track in the RX-7.
Ah, thank you. That's what I was looking at. So it seems like things have sort of quieted down. I'm not sure if we have a flag. Checkered on the session.
Yep. There's the 87, the track record holder for street. That's a S54 swapped BMW E36, according to Abe's little cheat sheet here. Thanks for that, Abe, if you're listening. But we have a whole other group of cars ready to stage up at the front. Down to see who got called out as a car to watch in this group.
Again, later this afternoon, we'll have GLTC qualifying, and then both races, along with all the time attack sessions. The Drift and HPDE will stay live for, but will not be actively commentating that, because I don't know anything about Drift other than Shred the Narbro. So that's all I got.
I gotta go leave. I got something to do.
Okay.
On that note,
I'm losing all my friends. and bear with us on the technical side. We're still trying to kind of configure cameras and set this up again. Very low budget operation here today, with DJ still back here laughing. DJ Alessandrini got his mask over his face. As you should. I got in last night at about 11:10ish, and it was very dark, and I did not realize, looking around now, how much you could see, because I was just driving in a tunnel between what I thought was just massive industrial complexes. And that's what's here, but couldn't see it. And a landfill, apparently. I also drove by, apparently, Chicagoland Speedway, which I would have stopped to admire had I noticed it. So, did you just call it a landfill?
So Tom, you're saying it's a driver's track. Where do you think the time is made up? Like, what spots on the track is where the driver makes up the time?
Well, I think there's two types of elements to me that create a driver's track. One of them is linking corners together, where you have to make decisions on where to make speed, where to give up speed, where to sacrifice car position to maximize the amount of speed you can carry. And then there's corners that are just specifically kind of like bravery corners, like turn 1 and turn 12 at Road Atlanta, the S's at Road Atlanta. There's tons of them. So there's a little bit of bravery here, I think, down into turn number 4. It's a really fast sweeper. There's a little bit of downhill run into it, and then it kind of flattens out through the middle. Some of those faster corners are a little more ballsy. But specifically, this track strikes me as linking corners together really time. So linking like 1, 2, and 3 together. The flow from 4 to 5 to 6, those corners come at you really fast. Minimizing time lost in the slow corners down to turn 10, and then again 11, 12. All of those places where you have to like kind of sacrifice entry or sacrifice positioning in order to get onto the next straightaway faster or make speed, or alternatively actually charge into some places and make speed in a place that you wouldn't really think to. All of that is what makes me kind of say that's a driver's track versus Gingerman. Not to downplay Gingerman or anything, but Gingerman doesn't have a whole lot of linking corners together nearly as much. It's even flatter than this. The relative speeds are kind of the same across the board of all the corners, whereas there's more variety here. So that's kind of where I'm going on it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but I'd throw in one more thing. I think corners where the entry makes up a lot of the time is also where a driver's track comes into play, because the magic lives in the entry. So like turn 1 and 2, you can overslow for that corner real easily, because it wants you to feel safe and nice, like you want the rear nice and planted as you're bending the corner into 2. But really, like, the better way to take that corner is where the rear is going to be light as you're trying to get that late apex into 2 to get a good run out of 3. And it's going to feel a little hairy. It's going to be a little scary, but there's a lot of time to be made up there, with somebody behind the wheel of a good tool.
So Group B on track right now, and they're going to get their. Chris just came back in. How was that? How's the field trip out?
I agree with all that, DJ. Johnson.
8.
There's more. You guys are struggling to fill there, and I want.
Yeah, that is true.
So we do have all of Time Attack A off track. Time Attack B was just released on their warm up. A lot more street cars in this one, some street GT cars. I think a lot of our heavy hitters, a lot of storylines were already on track. So this will be fun to see who comes out swinging, if anybody makes it. Going back to Abe's article and talking about street modified, since that was the most recent class we talked about, Alex Moss definitely one of the cars to watch with his not only K-Swap but also Turbo S2000. Sean Krebsbach, who has the track record still from last year in his Evo, has been doing a ton of work on that car and also put some more stickers on it, which add horsepower. And then James Forbes, I don't know that I saw that car here, but I was looking around. We saw, obviously, Ryan Matthews was not written about in the article, but he was second quickest so far. And then Jackie Ding, who had every opportunity, or had every bit of potential, I should say, at Gingerman to set the track record, but just couldn't quite get it done based on either traffic or reliability issues or just kind of poor circumstances across the board. And then, and I think that street mod record will absolutely fall this weekend. But again, if you're just tuning in, we already have track records set in Street GT, and Track Modified. Fastest right now in Track Modified is Ferris Khartoumi, who reset the. I'm sorry, not Ferris Khartoumi. It's the AS Motorsports car. That is not the driver listed, but the LS7 swapped BMW was fastest with a 127.8. So improved by a full second over last year's track record, which was held by Luke McGrew in his Viper ACR. The car has moved on. New track record claimed by the BMW so far. And then Street GT, Kobe Shield came out swinging in his Camaro SS1LE, reset the track record by a little bit over last year's track record, which he actually held. But Alex Artea and Chris Bickford were both on track and about 2 seconds off that pace. Neither of those one of those drivers has not been here before, I believe. Alex Artea. So watch for that BMW M3 to make improvements. And then in street, Brandon Randbeck, the E36 BMW, resetting the track record by a couple of tenths, about 6 tenths. Austin Hurdle also resetting the track record, but was second overall right now in street. Drivers completing their first flyers right now. Thanks. Uh-oh. You want to try that one? Hey, DJ, come here. Try this name. Oh, no.
Tom setting me up for failure. I'm not falling for it this time.
Yeah. Meslevic. I'm going to go with Samel Meslevic was the first car across, 137.5. It's a strong first lap out. Jeremy Poison will be fun to watch in his Porsche Cayman GT4. One of the most beautiful cars here. Looking down the list for more names that I recognize. David McAllister is out.
We're micing up DJ because I got to work on some stream stuff. So there you go.
Hey everyone, I don't have a camera to stare into awkwardly this time, so this is great.
I can give you one.
Nope, we're going to keep the cameras off me for now. Oh, there's a car off. Black Civic just kind of... That might have been on camera. No, not really. He tapped the wall. His car's probably okay, but car's not moving yet.
This is something to talk about while he gets himself sorted out. He just lightly touched the tire wall, so I'm pretty sure that car will be completely fine. He's getting his head around it and pulling out now, no problem. But weather is not only is weather a factor for if it comes, but things, because off track is super wet, super muddy. GLTC, Time Attack, HPD, and Drift. And Drift always throws in an mix because the track limits don't really apply nearly as much to Drift, and a lot of times the track is in a different state than the last time these Time Attack drivers or Touring Cup drivers have seen it because there may or may not be more debris on the track. And the debris this weekend is straight up mud, and mud is super slippery. We've seen a lot of cars off making simple mistakes like that because you go off and you even get mud back on your tires and you spin again because you have no grip. So Dealing with track limits at a track like this, not so much like when we were at Coda and you have to actually stay on the track because it's all paved. This one is you want to stay on track because you could either hit the grass and go for a big ride, or you're dragging a bunch of mud on the track, which throws everything else for everybody else off.
There's also an element, since there's drift here this time around, where driving the session after drift, the track changes so rapidly because there's a bunch of debris on track, and as the track gets cleaned off by the cars running around it, the track is different every single lap, and it will get faster every lap as well. And I already have an idea of where all the debris will get drug onto the track. It's going to be the slower sections, and unfortunately, I think it's going to be on the exit of 3, which the locals here called it the $1 million corner because there's been over $1 million worth of cars lost in just this one corner alone. And that's where we saw that Civic go off and just barely tap the tire wall there. He's completely fine, but I'm sure his pants aren't doing so great right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I also think tracking out of turn 2 is going to be a really risky spot. If you look over there right now, just visually from the tower, you can see the ruts already forming in the mud from drivers who have dipped 2 left, kind of tracking out of turn 1, trying to keep the speed up for turn 2. So it's not so much getting drug onto the track there, but it's definitely a trap if you dip a tire. Right now on track, Jeremy Boysen's the quickest car at a 1:34.9, so that's about 3 seconds off the fastest street mod time this weekend, which was, I believe Alex Moss was, or sorry, Jackie Ding was quickest in that first session, leading the way in street mod for this event.
yeah, Jeremy's a couple seconds off of Jackie, and this is everybody's first sessions. Some people approach the finding the time differently than others. Some drivers like to throw the spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks, and other drivers like to just kind of feel it out and work up to the limit. And Jackie Ding is definitely the spaghetti type of driver, and Jeremy Boysen might not be that willing to die, at least in the first session.
Got safety vehicles on track, maybe something else to address. So we're under a standing yellow right now.
What's the white square? They have digital flags here. There's a white square with a red cross in it. What is that?
Safety vehicles.
Safety vehicles. Okay.
Yep.
All right, because I saw that in the instructor lead follow, and I realized that I have no idea what that means.
I actually got caught off guard because all the boards, when they're blank, they look like black flags, and I thought I was getting in trouble.
When they're black flags, it's probably just white with black in the middle of it. Yeah. I'm sure that was said during the driver's meeting. I totally paid attention to that, by the way.
I was very awake and alert for that one.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed that I picked Mid-Ohio to drive here instead of this track. I think this track's more fun than Mid-Ohio, personally.
It's new and shiny for me, so I'm definitely excited about it.
I might be in the same boat.
Mid-Ohio's still magic to drive in real life. It's tougher to race. I'm really excited to see how when we move later on, not to move on from time attack too quickly, but see how this track races with a really, really stout GLTC field. I think we're going to see tons of track records in track mod. We're going to see tons of awesome racing, or not track mod, in track battle. And we're going to see tons of great racing in GLTC from my 7 laps of the track that I got.
Tom, I want to go on a limb and say that the audience watching right now is going to give us a break for jumping to GLTC. Right now, the time attack drivers are figuring it out. We've already seen the record hitters come through. We have a whole nother squad out there right now just figuring out the track. Jeremy Boysen right now leading this current Group B group out there right now. And Electron Sport. I doubt that's that guy's name. Do we know who that is?
It's right here. It's listed as Sport Electron.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
so,
Mr. Sport.
Mr. Sport.
He's in a C5 Corvette in street mod as well. Hello, Mr. Sport.
What if that's actually his name and we're making fun of him right now?
I mean, it is a cool name.
That would be a really awesome. Would you call him Tron for short?
Sporty.
Sport. Okay. We're all of a sudden not seeing a whole lot of cars across the start-finish line.
Yeah, I think we're black flagged all to keep things rolling. There were safety vehicles rolling to the back half of the track, and unfortunately, we see peaks of cars moving around, but we don't have the visibility that we do at Gingerman.
Yeah, that definitely is the strong point of Gingerman. Is you can see basically all of the track from the timing. There's like one corner you can't see, and if you go to Spectator Hill, you can see all of the track. So. Here it's a little tougher. We gotta tell them to cut down all the hundreds of trees surrounding this place.
Yeah,
This track really is awesome though, and there's like mansions on the side of it, like toward the back end of the course, and you just it creates some hashtag squad goals for sure to have like property on the edge of a place like this, and you just head out whenever you want. I'm sure there's rules, but come on, how many rules would there be?
I mean,
When you're like a member here, like I feel like you kind of run the place, don't
do
you?
what you want.
Yeah.
There's member stuff going on the other track, which is why we're running everything on the south course here this year. So there won't be any switch ups. Like in past years, I think they ran 3 layouts 2 years ago and 2 layouts last year. This year it's all on one. I kind of like it. Just focus on building momentum.
Focus, yeah. I feel like 3 different tracks in one weekend is a good thing for GridLife iRacers, but maybe not for real life. And we see how that works out in iRacing sometimes.
It wouldn't go any better, but the stakes are lower.
Very true. But did you see all the radicals? You think those are the tracks, and then members get to drive them, or how do you think that works?
I don't know that they have it like but I bet a lot of members have radicals.
Just maybe like it's kind of like you're part of the radical gang.
You are. All the houses down the back straight are the radical gang.
You think
a radical to live there?
you think they have a hat with like a radical on it or something? I mean, if I owned a radical, I would definitely own a radical hat. Yeah. I mean, I own a Civic and I own a Honda hat, so.
Okay.
So I mean, if I owned a radical, I feel like that's just a natural progression
I would
of
have a
hats.
t-shirt too, probably.
Yeah. Would you wear it? Would you wear it when you go grocery shopping?
Yes.
Just so everyone knows.
Ask me why I'm radical. See, that's even better.
Oh, that is way better. I feel like that could be a shirt. Chris, got a shirt idea for you.
$1 million shirt idea.
Well, okay, we'll explain it again for all the viewers. Ask me why I'm radical, and then a picture of a radical.
All of our hundreds of viewers.
Sounds a little blip shifty.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Is that bad?
Chris said it sounds blip shifty.
It's not a copy.
That's not GridLife, that's blip shift. You know, blip shift, if you're listening right now, that one's free. Just kind of want the mic again.
No, I'm monitoring. I have to make some big changes here. So what we're gonna do is after this time attack session, you don't hold it that close. It's sensitive enough. you can hold on to it. After the time attack session, we're gonna shut down. We're gonna make some changes and fire back up, and hopefully it'll be a little bit better experience. We're kind of playing by ear here. So we're gonna shut down. We're gonna make some changes, and we'll be back up for GLTC qualifying at 2:50 Central, which will be 3:50 Eastern. No, is that right? 2:50? Yeah, 2:50 Central, 3:50 Eastern for GLTC qualifying.
You know, you guys just caused me a panic right here with the computers not being Central Time. I thought I was a really bad instructor and didn't get out there in time.
You forgot about time traveling yesterday?
Oh man.
All my stuff is on. Also, my laptop is not designed for all this, so it's struggling. So we're gonna bump it down to 720, and
I doubt even if you never said anything,
no one would have noticed.
it would never know. Also, I like how you're streaming to YouTube right now, but the genre is iRacing.
Oh, I probably should change that.
People are like, I want to check out some iRacing streams, and they show up to this, and they're like, man, the graphics are great.
Or they're terrible.
Or they're
terrible.
Kyle's laptop sucks.
Yeah.
24, in case you're wondering.
So I know where the top camera here is on the screen here, the top right of the screen. That's the start finish straight. Where's the bottom view here? Where is that?
Oh, that's over at turn 8 and 9.
Yeah. So on the left of frame, you're coming into turn 8 on the brakes. Coming at us, you're going into turn 9, and then when you make the turn back towards left of frame, you're going into turn.
Now, I'm going to play ignorant just for the sake of the stream. Is this stream going to be full out GLTC like race broadcast with like different cameras and following the leader, or
Today?
for today? They are not.
To Chris, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Our full live stream starts in Ohio.
Gotcha. Okay. So it will be like what are we calling it? GridLife Radio? Yeah, it's GridLife Radio. Yeah. So
Beta stream.
We'll have Magic Matt.
Magic Matt. Yeah, I hope whatever is causing the delay on track right now is cool. Hopefully it's just somebody stuck in the mud because we can't really see anything.
Right. It could be over in 11, or it could be in turn 4. So it's really the only 2 corners.
You know, when we saw the emergency vehicles get onto the track, it didn't seem like they were in the biggest hurry ever. So it's probably just somebody stuck in the mud in a bad spot. That's what we're going to go with until we see something otherwise. So if you're paying attention and you see some of your buddies or loved ones on the screen right now. As far as we know, everybody's okay. I think there would be a buzz around if something bad happened. So if you're watching all nervous, I wouldn't be nervous. It's probably just somebody has mud in their wheels now.
Can you pull up Group A?
Probably.
Is it archived? Talk about the neat things that happened. Since some neat things happened.
We'll do a Lemons radio in the meantime.
That.
Because race monitor, you could see the Lemons race.
Oh yeah.
It would be just like the Champ Car radio, where they get completely off topic and don't talk about anything.
Yes, because we are very on topic.
Well, right now there's nothing happening on track, so.
Yeah, no, organize it by lap time so that we figure out who is neat stuff.
Kyle clicks on something and nothing happens.
That's all you got there, Tom.
Oh no.
You're gonna have to sort it with your brain.
This dyslexic college dropout is not going to be able to handle that.
Also, all the numbers look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we got. I don't know why
that's
it's
weird.
not-
Yeah, normally when you click the podium button.
Yeah, I might just go back to using the web browser later. 'Cause
Oh,
this
I
is-
can pull it up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, people on stream
I
won't
was
see
told
that.
that the applet for Race Monitor was better, and I sort of disagree.
I don't know what that word you just used.
Applet?
Yeah.
It's like a little mini app.
Okay, so John Allen came in with some knowledge about the radicals we were talking about earlier, and Autobahn had its own member series here at the track. So it was a series where they would race against each other. The members of the track would race against each other in those radicals, but now it's just a school program. Yeah, so thank you for
John,
informing us, John.
Do you know if they have hats or shirts?
They do we want to place bets if they had hats or shirts or not?
Maybe you win the hat.
All right, if they did have radical hats, I get a radical hat at some point during this weekend.
Never mind.
So, someone brought it up on the.
Oh, and he actually damaged his car. I missed it.
It's the $1 billion coin?
It's it just grabbed like $1,000.
It just takes 1,000 years out. I see parts and pieces on the ground.
Yeah, it's at least the front splitter of the thing. I think the rear quarter's a little dented as well. Does somebody with good eyes see the side of the car with the number?
I'll tell you, it's a 9th gen Civic.
There's probably not that many out there.
On my entry list, yeah, there's a lot of Civics on there.
2012 and newer. And judging by the front bumper, I think that is a 12.
We probably shouldn't speculate.
Yeah, we're not going to speculate. It's a black Civic right now. It doesn't look like... there's no way the driver's hurt in that car. But front of it's looking a little crumbly right now.